Em, bueno, muy buenas tardes a todos los que se están uniendo a nuestra sesión informativa con University of Auckland. El día de hoy nos encontramos con Anna Frisk. Ella es la representante de esta universidad y nos brindará información de mucha utilidad acerca de toda la oferta académica de University of Auckland, de la universidad en términos generales, las opciones de financiación que podremos encontrar allí y también nos hablará un poco sobre el convenio que se tiene con Colfuturo. Vale recordarles que si surgen preguntas alrededor de la sesión, pueden ponerlas en el chat, las estaremos respondiendo por allí, o si no, al final de la sesión, Ana va a responder en vivo. So, Anna, you can start now, please.
Gracias, hola, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to this session. It's all about learning how you can study at New Zealand's leading university, the University of Auckland. Kia ora, that's how you give a warm welcome here in New Zealand. I'm the International Manager for the Faculty of Arts, looking after the Americas and Europe. And today I'm going to give you an overview of the university as well as the great city of Auckland, fantastic program options and entry requirements so you know exactly what's needed to get into the University of Auckland. We'll talk about how to apply, scholarships, and of course career opportunities, because that's so important when you're thinking about that return on your investment. And then, as mentioned, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. So first, I just wanted to highlight New Zealand and what makes this country really unique in the world in terms of the great options that you have when you're thinking about pursuing your study and where you want to go. So these are three really unique qualities that make New Zealand special in the world. And so that's that guardianship of people, place, and planet. So really looking after the earth. Sustainability is incredibly important, so it's kaitiaki. Ingenuity, so that spirit of exploration, adventure, and creativity. And you can see that in a lot of our fantastic postgraduate programs, as well as the research that you can do when you come and study at the University of Auckland. And integrity. So we do what we say we will do. It's also a fantastic place to start a new business, and we have so many entrepreneurs that come to the University of Auckland. We're a hub for entrepreneurship activity, but also New Zealand itself is a fantastic place if you want to do business or start your own. So I'll just play this video really quick. It's a great intro to the innovation and the research that happens at the University of Auckland. That's really world-changing. It also gives you a glimpse of where we are in the world. All right, let me just skip on to the next page there. I'll get that back on for you. But again, I love that video because it gives you a great sense of the wonderful options that you have at your disposal. I'm struggling now to get out of it for some reason. Uh, 1 second here. Sorry about that. Just go ahead and bring this up here. Okay. We will jump right back in. Oh, don't seem to want to go to the next page. Let me, again, sorry. I am not sure why it's doing that when I see it on my thing, on my screen. Um, just one moment. All right, we are back in. So, that gave you an overview of the fantastic innovation, the research, and the entrepreneurship opportunities that we have at your disposal. But also a big part of where you choose to decide is also the location of the university itself. And what I love is that Auckland really gives you the best of both worlds. So you're in this city environment. It's New Zealand's largest city and most diverse. So it's over 1.5 million people. 40% of Aucklanders were born outside of New Zealand. So you'll meet Kiwis, but you'll also meet people from around the world. And as you can see, it's in this beautiful landscape. So right in the heart of the city, but it's also easy to get out into the beautiful nature that New Zealand is world famous for. It's on this isthmus between the Pacific Ocean and the Tasman Sea. So if you love being near the water, Auckland has so many beaches as well as adventure activities just outside of the city perimeter. In terms of economic job opportunities as well, being the largest city, we have so many great job opportunities, and we'll talk a little bit more about the support that the university provides for all of our graduates when you're a student, but also as soon as you become an alum with us as well. In terms of rankings, the University of Auckland continues to climb in the QS University rankings. We're now ranked 65th in the world. So fantastic university in terms of that worldwide acclaim. Many subjects that are ranked in the top 50 in the world as well. We have, as I'd mentioned, it's a very international city, but the university itself is very international as well. And we have over 8,000 international students from over 120 different countries that come and study with us. In terms of choice, we're New Zealand's largest and most comprehensive university with over 200 different programs from the undergraduate to doctoral level. We have 8 different faculties, and within each faculty, we have subjects that are ranked in the top 50 in the world. So we don't just have one area that we're really particularly strong in, but it is across our full range of subjects that we offer here at the University of Auckland. So as you can see, that includes arts, which is that kind of liberal arts and sciences, business and economics, creative arts and industries, education and social work, engineering, law, medical and health sciences, as well as science. And this is a link here that gives you a place to jump off if you're still really trying to explore and figure out I might be interested in engineering, but what within engineering can I study at the University of Auckland? So that's our Find a Study Options page, and you'll discover all these different program pages that we have. What's great about them is that you can really dig into the details around the program structure, the entry requirements. So we make it really transparent for you to see, can I study and get into the University of Auckland? So you'll be able to drag down to the country option and see what curriculum is required for a postgraduate degree. We look at our GP or grade point equivalent. So we'll look at the Colombian system and get a sense of how that would equate to New Zealand GPAs. So you'll know exactly what you need. We have a calculator that helps you determine that. We also include our IELTS, or as you can see, there's a link to alternative English language requirements. So you can see what other English language tests that we also accept to get into the university. As part of our Col Futuro agreement, we also partner with our English Language Academy. So the university has its own English language school, and they also provide pathway programs. So if you're really close to your IELTS score to get in, but you're 0.5 off, that's a really fantastic option to then be able to have that pathway into university master's level study. You can also see here the fees and scholarships as well as key dates. We are in the Southern Hemisphere, so our dates are very different from the Northern Hemisphere, so that's really helpful to see. And you can also, depending on the program, look at what subjects are offered. So in the postgraduate space, you have two different routes, either the research programs, it's very research heavy, or top programs, which will often include a mixture of coursework as well as a thesis. And from there, you can then transfer on to a PhD. In New Zealand, a PhD is solely focused on research. So it is 3 to 4 years of full-time study. What's really great about a PhD in New Zealand is that you qualify for domestic tuition fees. So this is significantly cheaper. It's around, I think, 7,000 New Zealand dollars per year for tuition. You also can bring your partner. So if you have a spouse, they can come to New Zealand with you and they can work full time. You can also work full time on a research visa as well. Of course, depending on how you juggle your coursework as well as studying will depend on how much you want to take on in terms of work. If you have any children, they can also enroll in New Zealand schools as a domestic student, which means that the fees are you're not paying fees like an international student would in a New Zealand school. And then, of course, like our master's degree, you can access that 3-year post-study work visa. So you're able to stay in New Zealand, work anywhere in the country, and it doesn't have to be directly related to your master's degree in terms of the job that you find after. It's a really fantastic option if you're looking at PhD. And then, of course, through Col Futuro, that deal gets even better. So for master's students, if you're looking at a master's degree, you have a 20% discount for all of our master degree programs. You don't need to worry about the discipline. That will apply to everyone. And that is for each year of your master's, up to 2 years. For the PhD, we are offering 100% discount for that tuition fees. And then, of course, if you don't get that one, we do also offer that domestic tuition. So again, really fantastic option for those students that are looking to study with us and applying through Col Futuro. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have a partnership with our English Language Academy, the ELA. So students can also get a discount, a 30% discount in tuition fees on various pathway programs that they offer as well. What's fantastic is that you can combine your Col Futuro scholarship with the University of Auckland scholarship. So there's opportunity to get even more money as part of your degree when you come and study with us. So if you're looking at a master's degree, for example, we have our University of Auckland International Student Excellence Scholarship. So this is a fantastic one to apply for. You could get 10,000 New Zealand dollars on top of that 20% discount. We have a University of Auckland International Business Master's Scholarship. So if you're looking to study in the business school, that's up to 32,000 New Zealand dollars for the Master of Management, Master of International Business, Master of Marketing, or Master of Professional Accounting. In the Faculty of Arts, we have a subdoctoral postgraduate scholarship. So for a master's degree, you could get New Zealand $15,000. And we also have incredible scholarships in addition to that domestic fees for our PhD. So really great options there to get a stipend up to 33,000. So again, great opportunities. Some of these will have opening and closing dates, and some of them will be by nomination. So it's really important to reach out if you've got questions and really read the regulations for each. The University of Auckland International Student Excellence Scholarship, for example, is one that you'll need to apply for within the opening and closing dates. The doctoral scholarship, for example, is by appointment. So when you apply to study with us, you can tick a yes that you're interested in scholarships, and they will consider you for that as well. If you're interested in staying on campus, we have some great options for postgraduate students as well. What's great is that you're right there in the heart of the city, walking distance to class. We do provide a free airport pickup for all international students upon arrival. You just need to let us know when you're coming. But that also is the case for those staying in accommodation as well. What's great is you also get a free membership to our University Recreation Centre. We have made a massive investment in our Recreation Centre, and it's going to be unveiled this year. I've just pulled a picture of the renderings, and you can see there's a rooftop football pitch. So for anyone who loves football, this is going to be a fantastic asset, and you'll be able to access that for free. There's also the swimming pool, bouldering wall, and lots of fitness classes, and obviously so much more. And this is right in the heart of campus. You'll have beautiful views of the Auckland skyline, as well as the Hauraki Gulf that surrounds Auckland. In terms of outside of the classroom, because of course you're not just coming to study, but you're really coming to also experience living in New Zealand. You have ample opportunity to travel through the region, but importantly, you also can work. So if you're on a taught master's program, you can work up to 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week during the semester breaks. If you're on a research master's program or a research PhD, all PhDs, you can work up to 40 hours a week during the semester as well as the breaks. Minimum wage in New Zealand is $23.15. So it's a really fantastic minimum wage that can add up really quickly in terms of earning extra money while you study with us. As I'd mentioned, we really are heavily invested in students' outcomes in terms of career opportunities and the jobs they have available to them. So you have great resources while you're studying with us through our career development and employability services team. We are highest ranked in New Zealand for our employability outcomes, and they can help you whether you're looking to study or stay in New Zealand after, or go back home or go somewhere else completely different in the world. Every country is very cultural, depending on how they're looking at CVs and their expectation. And so this is a really fantastic resource to understand what Kiwi employers are looking for and how you should format your CV, and how you might prepare yourself for those interviews. And you can access this after you graduate as well. They also have some fantastic programs that are specifically for international students to really understand the New Zealand working environment. As I'd mentioned, there's the great 3-year post-study work visa, which makes it really easy to be able to stay in New Zealand after you graduate, and be able to really take advantage of your degree and be able to stay in this beautiful country. So I'll leave the presentation there, and I'll open it up for anyone who has any questions.
Okay, thanks a lot, Anna, for all the information. It's so utile for us. So, meanwhile, people animated to put some questions in the chat. I have some through social media. So, first of all, what makes a strong candidate for this kind of program for you?
Yeah, what I think is really great about New Zealand compared to maybe other countries in the world. I'm personally from the United States, so I'm well aware of the education system there. What I love is that New Zealand's incredibly transparent. So you can look at each program page, and I can always bring one up as an example, and it tells you exactly what GPA you need to be able to get into the program. If you meet that minimum requirement, you will get an offer. For some programs, they might tell you that you need more of a focus on a certain subject background. So that will also be listed. If there are any other requirements, they will also include that. So, for example, if you were looking to study architecture, you might need to provide a portfolio. And then it will also have those English language requirements as well. So it really removes all of the guesswork in terms of trying to determine could I make it in? I know that there's a big pool of people that are applying. It's a really transparent and equitable system here in New Zealand.
Right, thanks, Anna. We have a question from Pedro. And Pedro says, I applied for a research master of engineering starting next year. How can I reach research community at UOA from now to explore research opportunities?
That's a great question, and congratulations on applying. Wishing you all the best. So you can look and see, for example, you can search and see the research that academics are undertaking, if they're open to being a supervisor, what their availability is. So you can always reach out to those academics, let them know what you're interested in studying and what research areas you're interested in, and if there is a match there. Likewise, you can also have a look at our research network. So we are part of three global research networks. So that's APRU, the Asia Pacific Rim Universities Network, U21, so the Universitas 21, as well as WOON, so Worldwide University Network. So you can have a look and see what research they might be undertaking, what funding might be. It's a great way to just see the areas in which there might be additional funding for you or other opportunities. We do really support researchers in developing their own research profile as well as participating in those network activities as well. So that's why I highly recommend having a look at those, and I can bring those links up for you as well.
Right, thanks, Anna. And now, as you mentioned, we have a 100 scholarship for a co-future beneficiary in a doctoral program. So I'm gonna question to you. I'm gonna ask to you. Sorry. What do you have into account? Do you take into account for select this person?
Yeah, so that will be a great question to ask. We'll be having our Dean of Graduate Studies coming to Columbia in October, and I believe we'll be running a session with Kofuturo as well while she's there, and she will be a fantastic resource to really dig into what they're looking for. So at the PhD level, there are lots of different priorities that the university has. And she can kind of dig into more of the specifics on how you can really showcase yourself and be selected for this scholarship. So I'm going to plug that future session if you're able to join it, and really be able to ask her those questions. And it's great that she'll be coming to Columbia, so you can connect with her and talk more about that PhD application. Oh, I've got you're muted. Sorry.
Sorry, sorry, Anna. And I want to ask you maybe more effective so about the city. So what is the average cost of living that you consider in Auckland?
What is sorry, say that
The
again?
average cost of life.
Oh, the cost of living. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, like any city, it's a little bit more. But what I think is really great about New Zealand is that you can find lots of different ways to really balance out different costs. So, for example, for me, like with food costs, I've found that living on an island, you really have to eat seasonally. You're not going to be eating out of season, like for example, in the US, where you're getting food from around the world at a low cost. That's not going to be the case in New Zealand. And I found there's different ways in which people might be going to fruit and veg shops, and you have to find different opportunities, but there's lots of great ways in which you can reduce costs. Healthcare is not a significant cost, and you get a really great international student insurance option as well when you come and study with us, which I think is great. Public transportation is readily available. What's great is that the university is right in the heart of the city. There's lots of buses that go directly to the university as well. So that makes it really accessible. You don't need to buy a car to live in Auckland. And then in terms of housing, there's such a spectrum of options. So of course, you can stay on campus, but there's also options to flat, as we call it here, and live with other people. Or depending on if you're bringing your family and kids, you can also rent houses or apartments, etc. So there is that full spectrum. And I think it's just like any city, you have to seek out those options depending on what you are economically ready for, but I can also share some resources that give you some estimates. So if you're one to budget in advance, those are some really great tools. I think the last thing I would just add is that the New Zealand dollar is not as strong as other currencies. And so that is certainly in your favor as well. So it's not going to be nearly as expensive as the pound, as the US dollar, Canadian dollar, or the Australian dollar. So when you're looking at all of that, it's important to do that conversion, and you'll see that it's not actually as expensive as you think. And then when you add in that minimum wage, that really helps as well, because it's a significantly higher minimum wage for those that are looking to work part-time.
Okay, Anna, thanks. And I have a question, and it's, can students do an internship during the master degrees?
Yes, so we do have a variety of internship opportunities. Some of the programs have that embedded within the program. So you'll just have to have a look at that. And then, of course, you can connect with our career development and employability services team. Let them know that you're interested in an internship, and they can work with you to help find out what opportunities are available.
And thanks. And the last question that we have, is there any problem if I travel with my family? Do you offer any help?
So in terms of traveling with family, we have a lot of resources that are out there and available. I can send through some of those in terms of what that's like to prepare for. And you can always reach out and let us know what questions you have. We're not going to be necessarily experts in enrolling your child for school, but there's some great resources that we can help point you in that direction in terms of what that looks like. And then in terms of those visa options, New Zealand does make that really easy for you if you're applying for a research program or a master's level to be able to have your partner apply for that visa right away, in terms of having those work opportunities readily accessible, as well as having that option to enroll your child easily in a state school, which is also really fantastic. And many countries don't offer that same opportunity to you.
Perfect, Dana. Thanks. Lady, I don't know if you want to tell something else, or we have questions else in through the social media.
No, Karin, that's it. I don't have questions from social media.
Okay, that's perfect. So Anna, thanks a lot for all the information. It's so relevant for us and all the people that connect today with us. So a todas las otras personas, a las personas que se conectaron, muchas gracias por su asistencia. Pueden comunicarse al correo yo soy futuro @colfuturo.org si tienen alguna pregunta, alguna inquietud, y en nuestra página web pueden encontrar también toda la información sobre las becas y los convenios que tenemos con University of Auckland. So, Anna, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And I can always send through some of those links to help answer some of those questions that I mentioned in terms of the research networks, cost of living calculator, and all of that, if that's helpful as well.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining, and hopefully I'll see some of you here in New Zealand.
¿Listo, Cristian? Ujú. Ana, muchas gracias por toda la información que nos
Gracias.
brindaste.
Hasta luego.
Chao, Ana, que estés muy bien.